Welcome to the Qualoupe class, and in this class we're going to have a quick look at how to manage your methods and specifications once you've been using them for a while and you need to make some changes. So we're looking at the material manager here. This material has got 3 specifications on it. So if I highlight a specification, you can see I have some tests, some test methods on it. So if you were to look at something like pH, that's a fairly general method, and that might crop up on multiple specifications right across your environment. So obviously on a mature system you might end up with tens or even hundreds of specifications all using a particular method. So as you can see here, the method version is associated with the specification. So process flow is using pH version 2. So if we were to go away and create a new version of that method, potentially you've got to update hundreds of specifications. Also, a specification can have limits associated with it. So if I highlight this, I don't actually think there's any limits on here, but if I was to click on that, it brings up associated limits. So if you had to deal with this manually, first of all you'd have to know what all the specifications were that contained the version of the method. Then you'd have to manually create a new version, and then you'd have to delete the version of the method that was obsolete, and then locate and insert the new version of the method, and then put all the limits back on again. And obviously if you have to do this for multiple methods on multiple specifications, this could be a bit time consuming. So there is a way within Qualoupe to automatically manage this change. I'm going to actually use this method called test, just because these 3 I happen to know are also on the other specifications. So I'm just going to say what would happen if this method changes. So you can see the method's called test, and we're on version 2. It's got 4 parameters on it. So if I go to manage methods, I've previously loaded that method just to save time. So we have method test version 2. So I'm going to make some changes to this. So we'll go create a new version, and I think what I'm going to do is create a new parameter, result 4. And I think I'll just move that up to a nice place. It's going to move, thank you. And then my calculation, I think I want that to be plus result 4. Oh, and divided by 4. Save changes. Okay, so version 2 was the average of 3 results. Version 3 is now the average of 4 results. So that's all well and good, so I will now approve that version of the method. So if I return to the material manager, I'm going to click F5 on my keyboard just to refresh this screen. So bear with me while that refreshes. What we should see is that any specifications using the method called test have automatically been set to status H. So the system, I should say there's a setting that controls this. I shall go and have a look at that after I've demonstrated the functionality. So if you've got this turned on in your system, the system will automatically identify the specifications which are using that particular method. So it's still version 2, but the current approved version is now version 3. So if we go from the home page, we have an application here, Material Specification Multi Approve. So if I open that, I may as well just open it in the same window, you can see it's got a list. It automatically loads up with a list of specifications which are at status H, and it just so happens there's 2 on my system. If changing the method impacted on multiple specifications, they'd all show in here, and you can choose to create new versions of all of them or selected. So I'm going to select that one and say approve selected. So it's changed it to A, save changes, and then it disappears from the list. So what's gone on here? So here's our status H specification, and it's version 3 and it's status H. If I click F5 again to refresh the screen once more, we'll see what the data looks like now, or will when it loads anyway. There we go. So we've got process flow. It's now version 4. If we look at the tests, the method is now version 3. Where's the previous process flow? So they're not actually in order. There we are. There's version 3 and the test is version 2. So it's gone from version 3 of the specification with version 2 of the method to version 4 of the specification, version 3 of the method. And had there been any limits, they would have copied across as well. So all you had to do in Material Specification Multi-Approve was highlight the specification or specifications that you wanted to update, click on Approve, click on Save Changes, and it's automatically done for you. That was quite quick because we only did one, but in theory you could do multiple. Well, in practice you could do multiple ones. If we go back to Manage Methods again, I'll just show you another way of doing the same thing. So I'm going to create a new version of this, new version, and I'm going to just approve it. I'm not going to make any edits this time round. I'm just doing this to demo something. So if I've done that, I'll go back to Material Manager, F5 to refresh the screen again. So it'll take a second or two just to go back, find that record and bring it up again. What it should do, of course, is place process flow back at status H. But if I decide I'm not going to go through Material Specification Multi-Approve, I'm just going to approve it here and save my changes, a little message will pop up telling you, okay, it's going to reversion it, but it's going to drag in the most recent version of the method. Okay, so it's now done it. So if I go back into there, tests, version 4. So you can reapprove your specifications one at a time through the Material Manager. If you want to do multiple ones, then the Material Specification Multi-Approve screen will do it for you. Okay, so in other words, if you've got a method that impacts on many specifications, there is automatically a process in place to deal with that. So hopefully this demonstrated it. I was going to show you there is a setting which I mentioned before. I should have showed you this at the beginning, which is when you approve a new version of your method, the specifications automatically go to status H, but that's actually settable in the Application Manager. So you might not want to do that. You might not want all your specifications to go to H, and you might want to manage this manually yourself. I can imagine that being the case if you're using your specs all the time, your change isn't critical, and you suddenly don't want all the specifications you're using going to status H, because it means they won't be able to be used on samples until they've gone back to A. So you might actually just want to go in and manage them all one at a time. You might know, the change might just be a change to the description of the method, so it's not a huge catastrophic change, but it would be a problem if all your specs were on hold and you didn't want them to be. Okay, so we're in the Applications Manager, highlight Method Manager, and there's a setting here. Hold specifications on method approval. Well, it's set to true in this system. The description says, prompt to put specifications on hold when a constituent method is approved. Well, it's set to true by default, so you need to edit your method, you change your method, and as soon as you approve the new version of the method, the material or materials involved go to status H. you can quickly create new versions with the up-to-date methods in by using Materials Specifications Multi-Approve, or you can just click on the status. If it's an H, set it back to A, and it will automatically drag through the new method versions in that case as well. Okay, well I hope that's made that functionality nice and clear for you. So as always, please contact support if you have any questions about it, and thanks for watching.